time wasting. And of course, we know refs have clamped down a bit on goalkeepers. And most goalkeepers do time waste when they're winning or they're not losing an away game, which they think a draw is a good result. So
Yeah.
refs do book them, rightly so, in my view. But yeah, to answer that question, I actually think it's a good idea for the PGMOL to consider, independent timing of the match, because the ref then is not going to be under any pressure to add a bit more time on if he thinks, well, am I going to bug up the players or the manager by saying only 4 minutes? I think it's a very good idea, and I think we're far more likely to get an accurate assessment of what that added on time should be. I think it's a
Mm.
really good idea.
Wow. Well, I'm surprised you support that.
Do you not support it? Is that not your view?
Well, it's taking the autonomy out of the hands of referees. Right. We've introduced the VAR, which is taking a lot of the burden off the referees. Now you're taking the time away from the referee as well. What's next?
Yeah, but as you say,
Yeah.
the VAR has taken a lot of the burden, is probably a good word, off of
Yeah.
the referee, which they would only be pleased about. Now, if they disallow a goal for a questionable offside before VAR, they're going to get it in the neck, which refs get it anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
the chance of the crowds about the refs, you don't know what you're doing, to name one of the cleaner ones. But crowds do shout some pretty awful things to refs, and sometimes, I won't say they deserve it, of course they don't, but
Yeah.
some refs are prone to make more mistakes than others, perhaps. But it's a tough job for anyone to do. So I think the more you can lighten their load, as I think VAR has done, because the crowd won't. Okay, they could still be blamed if they are sent to the monitor at the side of the court
Yeah.
of the pitch,
Yeah.
and then I don't know. They tend to then change their decision because they think the VAR people don't like to actually go against a ref's decision unless it's a real obvious error. So if
Right.
they think, well, I think the ref's got that wrong, they'll send him or her. We haven't got women yet in the Premier League, but we
Yeah.
probably will soon. To the side, to the monitor. So at that point, it's a brave ref who will overturn his original decision, I suppose. But that's
Mm.
probably what or more to the point, who will it's a brave ref who will maintain his original decision if the VAR ref thinks actually he's got it wrong. So if he
Mm.
stands by it, that's the brave referee. But they tend
Mm.
not to do that. They tend to change their view because they think that's what the person in the VAR booth, so to speak, is actually saying.
Mm.
Um, so I think the more you can take away, I mean, it's not like you're undermining their authority by saying we'll let you know through the earpiece how many minutes to add on, and we'll sort it out at the side. We'll hold the board up, etc. So
Mm.
I don't think referees would feel that diminishes their role in any way at all. Rather, it lightens them from having to. They must obviously keep a note somehow
Mm.
of the stoppages, mustn't they? I mean, I don't know whether we ever see them. You see them write down a name when they book someone. I don't
Mm.
remember seeing them write something down to remind them what time to add on. I don't ever. I mean, I know we don't always see what the ref's doing, but certainly he'd got enough on his plate without writing down, 2.5 minutes for this.
Mm.
And when
Mm.
a player is, you know, defending, playing for time like a goalkeeper,
Mm.
he will say, "Come on," and he'll look at his watch. But
Mm.
is he really going to be accurate about all these instances? Because there's a lot of them sometimes. Throw-ins, they can take an age to take a throw-in if they're wasting time.
Yeah.
So how does the ref keep all that stuff going in his head? So I think that you've convinced me just by the question that the sooner they change that to what I've said. They change that to what I've said, like in ice hockey, the better.
Yeah.
The better
Oh,
it will be for the ref and for the game.
Right. Okay. Okay.
It's a real case. It's a real
Well,
case there. Convincing.
yeah, yeah. Now it's something that's making a comeback in the Premier League, and it's long throws because you mentioned about throwing just now. Long throws are making a comeback. In because I remember uh, before this time they used to just they'll call a player and they go and they throw it to the player and they
Mm,
pass it back to them and but now they seem to be going right, you just go in there and I'll throw as far as I
yeah,
can. Now is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing.
Mm,
It's obviously only applicable when you are fairly close to your opponent's goal area.
yeah.
And I mean, Palace have got one guy, Chris Richards, he's an American guy in the defence, great player, and he's got a very long throw. So of course it becomes a bit like the length of a corner, and it
Mm,
can cause mayhem for the defence when they do that. And I've
mm,
seen most teams have a long throw specialist, I think, and I can't think who they are, but I've seen one or two this season who are even longer than Chris Richards in our team. A
mm,
tremendous throw. So I think it's a very good ploy, it's a good tactic. What I do seem to remember a few years ago was Stoke, I believe it may have been, and under Tony Pulis, who was the manager then.
mm,
And it was viewed because they had a long throw specialist. And I seem to remember they got a lot of flack for that, for employing that tactic, as if it
mm,
was, I don't know, as if it was kind of the way that the old long ball game was criticised. Oh, you just hoof it up there and hope for the best. You throw it in. But I never did understand why that was ridiculed as it was, because
mm.
I think if I were a manager, I would use that ploy every time. It's almost getting the benefit of a corner from a better angle even, and they do lead to goals, which is the object of the exercise. So I'm all
Yeah.
for those. Yeah,
All right. Okay. Yeah, they do lead to goals. You're right about that one. Now, I remember, I think whether it's in this segment or the previous segment today, we did talk about. You did mention about the. Oh yeah, I think it was in this segment where you did mention about the Manchester United incident with Chelsea. Now.
yeah,
I can't remember if it was after the game or on another occasion. I think they were asking Ruben Amorim how his what's it the style, how his style of play was, how is it being welcomed by the players? Are they adapting well?